Then, one morning, he took the train to the top station. He was cross. It was Peter Sam's turn, but the thin controller had made him go instead. "We'll leave the coaches," said his driver, "and fetch some trucks from the quarry." "Trucks!" snorted Sir Handel. "Trucks!" "Yes," his driver repeated. "Trucks." Sir Handel jerked forward. "I won't," he muttered. "So there." He lurched, bumped, and stopped. His driver and fireman got out. "Told you," said Sir Handel triumphantly. He had pushed the rails apart and settled down between them.
Hello, my name is the Rail Tourer and welcome to my entry for the Tannican Railway's Audrey Diorama Challenge. The challenge in mind was simple. Replicate a scene from one of the Railway series books written by the Reverend Wilbert Audrey in the form of a diorama, using anything from model railways to things found in your recycling bin. I chose to replicate this scene from the story Sir Handel, which can be found in the 10th book, 4 Little Engines. The illustration shows the moment when Sir Handel pushes the rails apart out of protest to the dismay of his crew. Funny enough, about 14 hours before the Tannican Railway announced this challenge, I had just bought a body shell for the first of my 2 Sir Handel customs. The body is a 3D printed 016.5 gauge Hughes Falcon body produced by GL Railways, link in the description. The body is designed to fit on a Dirt Common Hornby 040 chassis, which does have an incorrect wheelbase and wheel configuration to model either Sir Handel or Sir Hayden, but I personally do not mind. When the body arrived, I started by sanding down areas where it needed sanding, and then I applied a layer of undercoat all over the body. Once the undercoat was dried, I painted the body accordingly. I used Phoenix Position P102 BR Loco Light Blue for the blue livery. Dallo Rowney 026 Graduate Acrylic Black for areas that were black, such as running board, smoke box and chimney. For the red, I used H&B Vermilion Acrylic, and for the areas that were polished copper, such as the safety valves, window surrounds and chimney cap, I used H&B Raw Sienna. Once all of that was dry, I painted the controls and the inside of the cab, lined the model with the same red as before, and then superglued 2 lamp irons before painting them black. I then bought, painted and glued 4 00 gauge BR Class 91 buffers to the model, and then voila, my Sir Handel was finished. Oh, I then printed out the face that Sir Handel pulled in this scene, so to be more accurate to the books upon completion of the diorama. Speaking of, let's get into that, shall we? The diorama started as a piece of rectangular card. I then got 2 bits of old 00 gauge rail and bent them to look as if Sir Handel had pushed them apart. Once these were done, I used super glue to glue them to the card. I then painted the card with Brunel Franklin burnt umber, as it would look like dirt if showed through the grass, plus it would look better to see brown paint than the card. Once the paint had dried, I cut and glued grass mat to the card, and this would be the first layer of grass that would come to the diorama. The next thing was to make the fence and the fence gate as seen in the drawing. This was done with several wooden toothpicks which I cut and glued. Both were very tedious and stressful to make, but I was relieved when I glued them in place. Once they were able to stand on their own, I went around them with a paint pen, this being Woodland Scenics' weathered tie paint pen. Finally, it came down to the finishing touches. I glued a spare 00 gauge tree to the diorama. I didn't have a no gauge one, and my plan of ascending its height with modelling clay didn't work, as well as some bushes to stand in a shrubbery seen in front of the tree. Once all that was done, I took the diorama and Sir Handel to my local model railway club and added some static grass to finish it off. Note that the illustration, the grass seems to look dead between the rails. I also tried my best to replicate this on the diorama. The figures are 3D printed from Model U and are hand painted by me. Once they were glued on, the diorama, which I have come to name Sir Handel's Protest, is finished. Collectively, this project took me 1 week to make. I've enjoyed making this diorama from start to finish, and while there are areas that aren't fully accurate, such as the height of the tree or Sir Handel's livery, these are only small imperfections, and I've tried my best to be as accurate as possible, and I think I have accomplished that well. I thought this project would be difficult for me, but I used the same skills that I used when building my exhibition layout Haymore, as well as my old exhibition layout Oakley Moss, and I'm happy with the outcome. Thank you so much for watching. I would like to say thank you to Telecom Railway for giving us fans the opportunity to bring our favourite Railway series illustrations to life. Good luck to everyone else who has entered to the challenge. Thanks for watching.